There's nothing like being in the green room. Matter of fact, I think for the first time, I think Jonathan almost has green. It's gray. I don't have any green here, but he has a little bit of gray over there. And for those folks that know, the green room is where the magic happens, where it all takes place. And I'm not going to read his bio either, so I'm going to be consistent because those bios, first of all, me reading a bio would be cool, by the way. But second of all, we always like to hear from them, like who are they and what are they up to? So I'll ask the question, Jonathan, who are you and what are you up to these days, my man?
Well, if I had to put who I am into one word, I would say I'm a servant. I am someone who really enjoys being of service to people. I found that that's the one thing that I'm irrationally passionate about. That's when the lights in the room get a little bit brighter. So the way I serve people is through helping them to discover what makes them great and use it to do great things. Use that message that's within. So I help people to do three things: to package, to position, and then to present their information to people to go serve more people using the story of their life.
Using the story of their life. For those folks that are out there and they're hearing it for the first time, they might say, what does story of your life even mean, by the way, these days? Because story of your life means different things to different people. So take a moment, if you will. And I know we'll get started. We're in agreement. This is where the conversation happens. But take a moment to unpackage story of your life. What does that even mean?
Well, the story of your life is interesting that a lot of people don't recognize or even value just what that actually is. There's a narrative. And this is what I always do when I work with clients. I tell them, you haven't done 5 different things in life. Some people think, well, no, I was an accountant, and then I was a stockbroker, and then I ran a nonprofit, and then I had a retail store, or I was an entrepreneur. No, you didn't do 5 different things. You actually did one thing 5 different ways. So what is that golden thread, which we call it, that strings together all the pearls? If you notice, you've always been about something. You've always had something that you were passionate about. You've always had something that you've always wanted to do, or something that made your heart just become full. That is the story of your life, the story that brought you here and the circumstances behind your convictions. That's the story of your life. That's where your believability comes from. That's where your power, your strength, and your motivation come from. And that's where the greatest gifts in your life also come from. I always say God gives 2 gifts. He has two big buckets that he gives each and every one of us. One of them is your heart, like the thing that you love, the things and the people, like the things that make you just say, man, if I wish I could give this gift to everyone in the world. I want everyone to be able to experience this. I want everyone to know this about themselves, the truth about themselves. I want everyone to know this. That's your heart. Those are the things that you're passionate about. But then the other big gift that God gives us is our hurts. And that's also part of our story as well. Those things that make you say, I don't want anyone to ever have to experience this. I don't want anyone to ever have to see what I saw or go through what I went through, because your passion is connected to both of them, right? You're passionate about the things you love, and you're passionate about the things you want to protect people from. That's the story of your life, how you developed from your heart and your hurts and have become the person that you are, who's on the mission that you're on. And now you're joining people, you're asking people to join you on that mission that your heart and your hurts have combined to make you a crusader for.
Yeah, you talk about making a crusader, you talk about the hurt and the heart. Take a moment, if you would, and take us behind the scenes. And during this pandemic, global health crisis, racial crisis, whatever crisis is going on, there's so many things that are happening in the world right now. As it relates to your business and talking to your colleagues, what type of conversation have you been having getting ready for I call it the second, real now type of period? That's not even a sentence, right? But the second real now means in March, the world stopped, right? It just stopped, and we was like, what's going to happen? Now we're, depending on when they see this, 6 months into this, and we're like, okay, this is the new norm. And so what type of conversation are you having with your colleagues and and clients and so forth, encourage them getting ready for what I call the new norm, maybe the next 6 months?
Well, I don't think it's going to be 6 months. I think it's going to be a long, long time.
Wow.
We're talking about years from now, because here's two things you want to look at. And this is the conversation a lot of people are missing. There's two signals that are going on, but people are only paying attention to one of them. The first is what the law will regulate. You know, some states, like I live in Texas, I live in Houston. So you and I mentioned before the call that I believe it's like 50 people in a room now or something that you can do, right? That's what the law will allow. The law will allow you to go and gather, or it'll allow you to go into a restaurant. It will allow you to walk through a mall again. But the other signal that no one is talking about is, while the law will regulate one, there's another more important signal: consumer confidence. What are people willing to do? What are people willing to invest in without any fear? Where are they most confident? So whether or not we are allowed, based on this COVID status, to gather, or whether we're allowed to do certain things that we used to do, is irrelevant. Whether people feel confident enough to go do it. Like, for example, flying on an airplane, right? The airlines never completely shut down, and they took very strong measures to ensure that that didn't happen. They did a government bailout to ensure that. Now, you can fly on an airplane today, but do you want to? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel confident? Do you feel safe? Well, the numbers are suggesting that most people right now don't. So the law says, yes, you can, but consumer confidence says that you can't. So this is the part that you really need to pay attention to, because that's where the real numbers are going. That's where the money is going. When you're able to follow the money, that'll tell you the truth around what's happening. So to your point about what direction are we headed, I believe this is going to be a much longer runway than we realized. So how are we going to do this? Well, the big shift is obviously that we have to learn how to get better at connecting online. The virtual option will be with us for the rest of our lives. This is called a shift, a directional shift in buyer behavior. People are learning, wait, I can just order from a restaurant and have them deliver the food to my front door. I could just have them come pick up my dry cleaning instead of me going out. So if you notice, China was the first country to go on total lockdown. And they were the first country where you would see some of these adaptations, where people of all ages, of all income stages, they were all beginning to make some changes around how they did life. The smart people are looking in the future and looking at the people who were first and saying, well, what did they do to adapt and make things happen? And how could I take advantage of that right now as the United States catches up? So what that means is you've got to always have a virtual component to everything that you do, and being able to break that, what we call the digital divide. So that means that you need to learn how to connect with people emotionally in digital spaces. So what does that mean? So it means that the direct marketing, the hybrids, those things are going to be important again. So although you and I may not see each other, if I put something in the mail and had an envelope for you to open, I may not actually physically be able to hand it to you, but I would use an online and offline approach. Hey, I'm going to put something in the mail. Hey, you don't open it until we get on the phone or on Skype or on Zoom, and then you open it. And that's how we start to create those kinds of connections. Most people are freezing on the terrestrial or the native side, the face-to-face side. But if you actually do what no one else is doing, you can win. There's a huge opportunity. You can win. The inboxes are freezing. Nobody's putting anything in the mail anymore. We're past that, though. We're past that. Oh, I wonder if my mail is going to give me COVID. We know that that's not the case, right? Nobody's afraid of that. So people need to start using that in order to create that emotional connection with people, because there's no competition. It's like being able to drive on a highway where there's no other cars and no police. You can go as fast as you want. You can win every single time.
Wow, you can win every single time. With that being said, we're in the green room, and Jonathan's already kicking off, by the way. He brought us something very important. We're going to talk about it as soon as we get started. For Doris McDaniels is out there, B. Jacqueline Jetter is out there, Chrissy, I see you, Jocelyn, thanks for joining, Karen. So many of you tuned in right now. When we come back, because we're going to kick this thing off right now, we're going to come back with your comeback starts with connection. We're going to ask about that. We'll be back in 5, 4, 3, 2. This is my favorite part, John. 1. Let's kick it off. We'll be right back, baby. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they say yeah, and they say yeah. Cause all I do is win.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And I believe you have 3 visions, by the way. I believe first, you have a vision for yourself. You know, the clothes you want to wear, the car you want to drive, the organic food you can't wait to eat, right? And it takes resources, which means it takes revenue. I believe you have a second vision, by the way. You have a second vision. You have a vision for your loved ones, the ones you care the most about. And I think about Mother Dear. She's 73 years old, just celebrated her birthday last month. And early in this pandemic, guess what? I couldn't go there. She got really good at ordering stuff online, by the way. And she's pretty cool. She has a lot of fun doing that. But it takes resources because she uses my credit card, which means it takes revenue. And some of you want to write a check for a loved one's health care insurance. You want to write a check to send your kids to a school of your choice or a cause you believe in. It takes resources, which means, it takes revenue. And I believe there's a third vision you have. You have a vision for the people you were called to serve. And I want you to imagine for a moment that you're Noah. You don't have to be a believer, but there's this guy named Noah in the Bible. I happen to be a believer. And let's say you've been given all the tools you need from God. You've been given all the experience you need. And you're ready to get going on this mission because you couldn't wait. This vision has to happen. And right before you get going, there's a knock at the door. And you're like, what's up? What's going on? Noah, over here. Here. Yeah, what's up? Excuse me, Noah, we want to report there's no hammer in the house. No hammers at all. No hammers, no big deal. We'll be just fine. Life's still going. What's going on now? Here, me. I might as well let you know I can't find any nails either. We're out of nails. There's no nails. No hammer, no nails. Rule number 1, don't panic. Gee, Moniz, what is going on? Yes, we might as well confess. There's no people and there's no wood. Good luck on this mission. And maybe that's you right now. You got the right heart. You freaking can't believe anymore believing when you have a headache if you keep believing everything, but you ain't got no resources because there's no revenue. Well, one of the ways to do that is through the power of connection. And we have the one and only Jonathan Sprinkles, who's here today to help you understand how to use human connection to achieve results you want in your life and your business. What's going on, Jonathan? How are you, my friend?
Hey, Shay, that was actually a cold-blooded story. I like that. I wanted to just sit and see what happened to Noah. All these knocks on the door. I didn't know that was you. I was like, oh my God, somebody's messing up his show. You had me in the beginning. That was a great story.
Well, I appreciate that. For Tara Franklin is watching right now. For Calvin is out there. Can I just address the elephant in the room? Can I just please? Your comeback starts with connection. Okay, here we go. Human connection. Take a moment. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny because I know it's your thing, man. Why is that more important now than ever before?
Well, let's go back. In March, as you said, the world just stopped. And for the first time in 80 years, we were at a complete standstill. What we learned in that moment was that something occurred that no one ever believed was possible. All of the big brands, the big boxes, the big buildings, all of those flattened out. And what we were left with was a set of raw emotions. If you notice, television has even changed. If you look at commercials, everyone has masks on now. You don't show a big group of people gathering, or commercials with parties and people doing the things that we would do before. Now it's more about touching the heartstrings. It's about letting people know we care about you. The messaging has changed significantly in business. So what has happened is that humans are winning again. That it's no longer about how big and grandiose we can be. It's about how much can we demonstrate that we care. So let's talk about connection and what that means. John Maxwell, who I'm sure you know as well, very well, he said that connecting is the ability to relate and identify with people in such a way that it increases your influence with them. I'll say that again. It's your ability to relate and identify with people in such a way that it increases your influence with them. So when you look at what that means, the way to move people from where they are to where they want to be, or from where they are to where you want them to be, is to first appeal to their humanity by relating to them and being able to identify with their pain. So, or their goal, their struggle, to identify with their situation. So this is what people are doing now. Even the big box retailers are now saying, look, I get you. It's no longer about our brand. It's about the people behind our brand. People are now working on ways to, as a corporation, change their messaging from look at how big and great we are to we're breathing the same air. I understand your struggle. So now what that means for people like you and me, who are the entrepreneurs, the solopreneurs, the people who are running small businesses, is that the opportunity that has opened up larger than ever before that's available to us right now is that everyone who's winning in this season, and there are some, do not believe the hype. Not everybody's going broke. Not everybody's depending on stimulus money. That's the case for some. And if so, God bless them. I understand. But some people are out here winning and they're crushing it. And the people who are winning big are the ones who have taken the position of being what I call the empathetic expert. Let me explain. Empathy means I understand. Expert means I know the way out. So what that means to us practically is that we are now having to shift the narrative and shift our focus from, oh, I'm so rich, and I bet if you get with me, I'll make you rich, to, you know what? I get it. Instead of talking about me, let me talk about you. Let me focus on where you are. Let's deal with your raw feelings right now. Let's deal with your hopes, your aspirations. Let's talk about your family. Let's talk about the plan. And I have a step-by-step solution on how we're going to get out. And here's how we do it. There's a concept that I teach called quick wins. And now more than ever, they're important. Getting people to buy big starts with you showing them how they can win small. It's important for you to prove, because people are emotionally in that uncertain state. They need to have proof that the money that they're going to invest in whomever, you or anyone else, they need proof points that this is going to work. So whereas before you could just show a bunch of testimonials, now you have to show them. You have to prove it that they can do it. It's not just that you've done it with others, but that they can do it. So our narrative has to change. Let me now show you how you can be great. Let me show you what you can do right now to have success. And based on that success that we just created within 30 minutes, 60 minutes, a day, a week, let that be the basis for why we need to do business together. So I gave you one win. Your next 10 wins will come when you get the bigger package.
And what do you see as the biggest challenge facing entrepreneurs or leaders today, even doing this on a continuous basis? It sounds like they should know, oh, wow, I've got to be able to connect. What holds people back from doing it on a consistent basis?
You know what? I believe that people have to get over themselves. You know, a lot of people say, but I'm not that kind of person, or I'm not good at blank. I just don't think I can. And it's usually our own self-limiting beliefs. There's two things. It's our self-limiting beliefs and it's our selfish ambitions. So anytime we put self first and we turn the camera on ourself versus turning it on them to have a service mindset, those are the things that are causing people to struggle. When it's, I just can't do this. This isn't my temperament. This isn't how I am. Or I need to get something from this very fast. And I need you to be a part of my story versus me helping you win in your story. Those are the two main reasons why people are struggling right now.
You know, for someone that's out there, and there's two types of folks that are out there, Jonathan. There's those folks that are professionals, that are leaders, that now have responsibility of doing this with their team remotely. And I know you work with folks and you work with teams helping them build this type of connection. And there was someone that was on the show not too long ago that was talking about, you know, trying to stay involved. He used the word connection, but he was using the word involved with his team when they're kind of not all together anymore. What would be one or two ideas that Jonathan may be able to share to anyone that's a leader of a nonprofit or a leader of a municipality type of, or in the government or in the private sector, that can maybe help them build this great connection with their team when they can't all come together and have coffee and donuts like they used to be able to do?
Yeah. So I'm getting a lot of calls right now from people who are stuck in this situation. You know what this has done? Warren Buffett said, when the tide goes out, you find out how many people were swimming without clothes on, right? So you know what's going on. You see who is really about it, who really had the skills, and those who are being propped up. And this is part of that big shift that's happening. People having to shift back into being the empathetic expert. And if that really wasn't your thing, but the economy was good, well, there's a lot of fluff in there. There's a lot of fat on that bone, so you could just take advantage of riding that wave. But this is what I'm instructing people to do. There's 4 things that you have to demonstrate to your people as a leader. I got a call from, I can't say the name of the company. I got a call from a sales manager who's over sales for US and Canada. Now, this is a large company, and I can virtually guarantee you that everyone has this app on their phone. I'll put it that way. They have this app, and it's a really, really big company, and it is pervasive throughout our society. And he said, Jonathan, this is where I am right now. You know, my numbers have been good in the past, but this is the line that he said, right now, my connection is waning with my team. And I said, well, explain what that means. Why is the connection waning? He said, well, it used to be that I could just go to this city, or I'll just make it up. I'll say I could fly to Detroit. I could fly to Chicago. I could fly to Los Angeles and New Orleans and Houston and go do those attaboys. Just go walk the hall and say, yeah, you got it. Good job. Come on, keep it going. Well, now that's been taken away from me. This is my office. I'm here in what used to be my living room that has now been turned into a converted office. What do I do? Because I still need to connect with my team. I still need to drive the numbers. I still need to let them know that I care. And we had a great conversation. And this is what I said. I said, there's 4 things that you need to do in order to be what we call a connected leader. A connected leader is someone who emotionally connects with their people as they get the job done. So being a connected leader requires you to convey 4 things that people need to know. Number 1, they need to know, I hear you. Number 2, I value you. Number 3, I get you. And number 4, I'm here to help. I hear you. I value you. I get you, meaning I understand where you're coming from. And then number 4, I'm here to help. When you do these things, which are very fundamental, and when you hear them, it doesn't sound like rocket science, but when there is a breakdown in a relationship, whether it's in a digital relationship or a face-to-face relationship, these are the 4 corners. And if one of those corners is broken, then the house begins to fall down. And that's the reason why people are struggling. But what this does is it gives you 4 guideposts to say, look, you need to work on your listening. You need to make sure that they feel valued. And the level to which they feel disconnected from either one of those 4, the level to which they question any one of those 4, is the level to which they are disconnected from your organization, which is equivalent to the level to which they are which will be proportionate to their lack of productivity. Because people don't invest where they don't feel like others are investing in them. So we end up having a scenario we call PPEA, physically present, emotionally absent.
I like that. Before I follow up on that, take a moment, if you would, and talk to the folks. One of the things I admire about you is you're able to help leaders and folks that are in the business sector, which works really well, but you're also able to let everyday folks be able to connect more with their family, more with their loved ones, and entrepreneurs connect more with these collaborations and partnerships that they're doing, because I found myself doing more collaborations now, believe it or not, Jonathan, than before this all took place, right? So take a moment and talk about how the mom that's watching right now, the dad, we got a lot of what we call dualpreneurs that are watching, Jonathan. That means they work a full-time job, but they're also full-time entrepreneurs. And we had a lady real quick that was on here recently says, hey, look, Shay, I'm now a full-time person working at home. I'm a full-time wife. I'm a full-time mom. I'm a full-time school teacher now because you got to teach her kids. I'm a full-time administrator, Shay, because I get their freaking homework turned in. And she got 2 in elementary school and 1 in middle school. And I want to start this business that I'm doing as well. And so take a moment, and I don't want to say it's a woman because, it was women to call it, but it could be guys that are going through that as well. It could be anyone that's going through that. My question to Jonathan really is, what are you saying to folks that need to stay connected because they're around their family and they're around folks more now than they ever have been? So how do they continue to maintain that connection and that balance?
So I love talking to you all the time because we cover a lot of ground. We talk about a lot of different things. Yeah. So I'm going to do my best to make sure that we stay that I give information that is as relevant and as consistent as possible. So I want to stick back with those 4 rather than there's a whole other conversation that we could have, but I'm going to stick with those 4 questions. How would we do that with our families to say, I hear you? Okay. So right now I'm doing this interview. My son is in the other room. He's got other things that he has to do. He has some assignments. We don't call them chores. He has some assignments that he has to do. He also would love to have some video game time. He has some reading. He has a few things that he has on his list. But one thing I know, and I have to also be reminded of, is that children spell love T-I-M-E. And it's a real big challenge at home when you are struggling to keep your children feeling connected to you. You have a Skype meeting or a Zoom meeting. You still have work and reports that you have to do. You have to think about dinner. You have to think about all of the things that are called real life, right? You have all the things happening all at the same time. Here's my best advice. And this is coming from the struggle here. So if anyone out there is struggling, I understand. Trust me, I understand. My best advice, number 1, give yourself grace. There's no such thing as a perfect day. There's no such thing as you doing everything right every minute, because there's always something to do, especially now when the place that you sleep is feet away from the place that you eat, which is feet away from the place that you work, right? That's a very challenging scenario. So it's a weird and different dynamic. So that we don't have the normal routine that we had been living for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And all of a sudden, in a few months, everything is just turned upside down. So give yourself grace. And I want you to know that if you were even trying, then you deserve credit for that. If you're even making an attempt to get it right, then you deserve credit for that. And you need to stop looking at everything that you're doing wrong and give yourself credit for the things that you're doing right. Okay? So give yourself grace. And I say that because for a long time, I wasn't doing that. For a long time, I was trying to figure out how I could do everything perfectly so that nobody missed me and that I was always present. And I just realized that that was burning me out. It was giving me literal anxiety. I felt like every second of the day I was having problems. But then there's other things that you can do. Even if you have very young children, you can set up little times of the day in which you let them know that you hear them, that you value them, and that they're worth being heard, right? And that you're still there to help them. The reason why this is important is because people understand that you're busy, but they also understand that we make time for the things that are most important to us. So you may not have 2 hours to stop, but you know what? You can still make an appointment for a good 10, 15 minutes and say, you know what? This is your time. Let's just talk. You may not have all the time in the world. It may even be that some days you say, look, I just don't have it today. But you know what? This is what we're going to do as soon as I turn off the camera. It's always possible for you to manage somehow, especially with the people, for you to manage expectations. You can start talking to your kids about your schedule, about your work, and about what that looks like, and just say, hey, mommy, daddy is really busy today, and this is what this looks like. And you can have a family calendar. Those 4 things don't just work for your employees or the people you're working with. They also work for your family, because this is what lets people know you're still tuned into them, to say, I want you to know you're worth it to me. I get you. I love you. Sometimes I'm a little bit challenged, but that doesn't stop me from loving you like I did before. Let's work together. And what you'll find is that people are very, very amenable to changing around their expectations as long as you have that conversation with them. And so that's been another conversation that I was having in the beginning of the pandemic. I had something called quarantine class. And one of the highest rated classes was the one where you just talked about strategies like this to just talk yourself off that ledge of feeling like you had to do everything perfectly. And people said, you know what, I needed this, because that time where you get to slow down and have this conversation, believe it or not, believe it or not, times like this will be things that your children will remember forever. Many times we feel like as spouses, as parents, even as bosses, we feel like we have to put that S on our chest. We feel like we have to show that we're perfect and that nothing ever gets to us. And it's just fine for us to say, you know what, I'm struggling too. And this is what I'm struggling with. And when you get to that point, the relationship deepens, it grows, you become more human, and they thank you, and it becomes a better relationship for years to come.
I love it. For those folks that are out there, you can hit the share button, you can hit the watch party button, you can pay this message forward to your network, you can pay this message forward to your community. One of the things that I admire most about Jonathan is he's sharing with you how you can use the power of connection to be able not only to achieve what you want, but really he's all talking about what other people want. And isn't that a place of service? Isn't that so cool? You know, Jonathan, one of the core values we have here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show is a core value is today is my January 1st. And for those folks that know what I'm about to do, you know this segment, today is my January 1st. You can look right below the video. What's up, Lakeisha Williams? You can look right below the video. What's up, Calvin? And you can write these words. Today is my January 1st. It's a fresh start. It's a do-over. My past doesn't equal the future. For those folks that are wondering, what in the LL Cool J is Shay talking about over there? Well, today is my January 1st means that we don't wait for the date on the calendar to say, well, it's January 1st. I've got to get going. No. Today is my January 1st. A January 1st moment represents one of those moments, and there's probably 1,000 plus throughout the day, where you can make a decision, and that decision could change the trajectory of your life. So you make a decision that you're going to work out, or you're going to sit back and binge watch Netflix. You make a decision that you're going to eat hamburgers and French fries and with a little salt and pepper, and got to have some ketchup, and my sons want some hot sauce. Or you go to the refrigerator, you open up the refrigerator, and inside the refrigerator there's some kale. That sounds good. Some broccoli. Got to have the broccoli. Oh, my good Brussels sprouts. So today is my January fresh start. January 1st is a fresh start. My daddy, Marsh Brown, used to say, Che, the future is spotless. My future was always spotless. So my question to Jonathan, as he's hearing me say that, is when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind?
The word that comes to mind is opportunity. And this is what I love. You know, the first thing when mommy, daddy, and my son get down on our knees and pray, the first thing we say is, God, thank you. Right? And this is at the end of the day, not at the beginning, like thanks for that. No, it's like, thank you for everything that happened today. Everything, because we know that, well, I too am a believer. I believe in that scripture, Romans 8:28, and that we know that it's all working together for the good. So some days really stink. I don't like them, but I know that it's all working together for the good. So if this is your January 1st, then it means that the opportunity is always there. So thank you for this new opportunity to either get what I want or to give me the character, to give me the courage, to give me that drive and that focus for what I'm going to need to get to that next level, the thing that I've envisioned. I look at the opportunity every single day. Like I love what you say, you know, today is January 1st. We don't have to wait. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, this year is so bad and this year is so challenging. Well, is it? Right? And if so, why? Right? I know there are some things that we don't want to happen, but one of the things that I have learned how to do, and this is what I teach in my event Connect Live, which is coming up. I talk about building the belief. I talk about creating certainty through uncertainty. I talk about how important it is for you to know before you can actually experience it. If you can see it before you can see it, you never will see it. I mean, if you can see it before you can see it, right? That is what allows you to actually see it. So it is important for you to build that belief in what is possible. It is important for you to build the belief that it is yours and that you deserve it. It is important for you to build the belief that your past does not equal your future. It is important for you to build the belief that whatever so-and-so said about you does not define who you are. It is important for you to build the belief in that January 1st, that reset, that today is my day. Now, Shay, I'm going to tell you something that I normally talk about at the event, and people were like, no, John, you got to be kidding me. They didn't believe me, but you might be one of these people too. I went to a large event, personal development event, and the host said that one of the best things that you can do for yourself is take a cold shower every morning. Now, a lot of people say, I'm out, you know, like Shark Tank, I'm out. And I said the same thing. And until Lori, who works with me, said, hey, did you do it? And I was like, no, I'm still building the belief in that. She said, well, I have, and I love it. And I said, okay, I'm not going to have her outdo me because then she's going to talk trash about what a wimp I am. And so I tried it once, and it lasted all of 10 seconds. I was like, okay, that's enough. I turned that knob back to hot. I said, forget this. Whatever benefit I was supposed to get, I don't want it. But then she kept on it and kept on telling me about how good it was. And I said, all right, okay, I'm going to try. And Shay, I'll tell you, it is so good to do the cold shower that I'm not going back. And here's why. I found out there's a lot of health benefits to it. It decreases inflammation. It starts and ignites your immune system. It allows you to feel a lot more alive faster. Now, I know it sounds crazy, right? This sounds crazy, but I promise you it works. And everyone who has tried it, they don't go back either. Here's the biggest part about building the belief and this cold shower. When you can, by the way, it doesn't feel good, right? You're not doing it because it's like luxurious. I live in the South. I like heat. I like humidity. My house is set on 82 degrees because I like the tropical weather, right? I'm not one of those turn the thing down to 67 degrees. No, go to a hotel if you're too hot. Okay, I like the tropics. Maybe I'm cheap. I don't know, whatever. But the reason why this cold shower is such an important part of your day every single morning is because when you can have that first victory early in the morning, when you can have that first victory, everything else that you have to do seems that much easier, because the first thing you've got to conquer is that little voice in your head that says, this isn't possible. And when you can conquer that first victory for that very short, intense time when you're in the shower, taking that cold shower, and you say, you know what? I won. And now I'm going to go get something else. I'm going to go pursue my next victory. I'm going to go win again. It changes you.
Yeah,
it changes.
No, I love it, man. I love it. As you were talking, I was thinking how excited folks are as they're writing. Today is my January 1st, and they're super excited. I don't know if they're excited yet about taking a cold shower, but I may try that tomorrow. I may step out. I've heard that before. I think you and I went to the same event, so I've heard that before. But I'm wondering, Jonathan, people are excited like they were back on December 31st after a couple of drinks on the back of a napkin, right? They were writing down their New Year's resolutions, and we know how that ended. And so my question to you, for those folks that are excited and pumped up, is you probably heard that there's truth inside of truisms. And so one of the truisms is consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. And having said that, what do most people struggle with? My hand is raised from time to time. Being consistent. So what do you share with your folks and your clients in order for them to be consistent, to hashtag stay the course, so they're having this connection going on all the time?
So let's even stick where we were before with these showers, right? There's always something that's difficult. There's always something that's hard, and things you don't want to do. We ran 11 miles today. My son, who's 10 years old, he was leading the pack. So he's something special. The reason why is I was running, usually far behind him, but we were in a small group of people. I keep asking myself, why am I doing this? It's a long time. You run for a couple of hours, your knees hurt, your joints hurt, your legs hurt. There's always that little voice that says, stop. Don't go any further. You're a runner as well, so you know exactly what this voice is like. Oh, yeah. There's that, so let's just talk about this. Let's dialogue, and I'll answer your question. Yeah. What does that voice say in your head, even as a seasoned runner who has been
every time, even last night, it's like, one, why are you doing this? And you don't have to do this, right? Because for me, it's getting in the car is the hardest part. And when I get there, I normally park, and I'm in Washington, D.C., right downtown. And so I pass a lot of little shops, little places I can stop and eat and chill out and maybe do a video about what's going on in the world. And I'm always telling myself, why am I doing this? I'm not training for a marathon right now. Not training for a half marathon. Why? And but I feel so much better after mile 1. For me, the first mile is the hardest mile. And I run 6 minutes, and then I walk 1 minute. Run 6 minutes, walk 1 minute, but my time is still 9-minute miles. And so the first time I stopped, like, oh, phew, I made it. I made the first 6 minutes. But then something magical happens, Jonathan. When I hit that mile marker, I'm like, you know what? I'm doing 5, so I might as well make it to the 2.5-way mark, and I'm in. But it's why am I doing this? No one's going to see it. No one knows about it. No one's here to cheer me on. It's like, why am I out here?
It's so funny you say that. We've never run together, and I'm sure you are by far a more veteran runner than I am.
Yeah, but you're faster. You're younger and faster, man. I'm just trying to hang out there with you.
No. I never said I was fast. I just said I'd do it. But the reason why I asked you about that was because I even wanted to hear what the little voice says inside of your head.
Sure.
Ironically, we are at two different paces. We run different kind of races, but the same obstacle visits everyone's consciousness. Why am I doing this? In every relationship, there's a point where you get to a place you say, why am I doing this? In every business, as you're growing it, when you're writing a book, you say, why am I doing this? This is so hard. The work is exceeding the benefit right now. And this is what happens when we experience, this is what I teach at Connect Live. How do you identify the big disconnect in your life when the work and the benefit are not connected? Like if you're working out and, you can see your muscles growing and you're like, I got it. Or I'm doing this challenge. And so I'm connected with 10 of my best girlfriends and we're going to compete to see who could lose the most weight or who could get their book done first, the first person to sell 100 books, or we're all going to, those kind of things. You don't ask yourself why, right? You don't ask because you know why. It's very clear. But we talked about how you become PPEA, physically present on that track, emotionally absent. That's what happens. Why? So I worked through a series of exercises helping you to identify in, I think this is the middle of the first day, we do something called the 7-circle method. And there's 7 circles of your life that especially for business people really matter, that matter most. And these are the 7 circles or the 7 areas that drive results for us most. And it's not true for everybody, but it's definitely true for us. And when you can identify the big disconnect, those times when that big why becomes hard for you to answer, and it happens for all of us, okay, myself included. And it's a natural evolution in the process of success. If you can answer that, then you can begin to reconnect in those areas, answer your question, why? And then this is when you turn back on and you're able to go from uncertain to certain. I was talking with the trainer, and he'd worked with people who are world-class athletes. We're talking about everything from triathletes to professional athletes. And one of the questions that I asked, in this kind of situation, I said, look, I'll be honest. I mean, there's a lot of tall people in the world, right? And there's a lot of strong people in the world. There's a lot of muscular people. There's a lot of real hard-nosed, very strong-minded, high-disciplined people, a lot of motivated people with high ambition. What's the difference? What's the difference between somebody who makes it and somebody who doesn't? Someone who stays at that elite level and those who don't? He said, very simple. Those who make it and those who don't, the big difference between them is their ability to master the little things. And that's why consistency is so important. Staying consistent in the things that matter, making your bed, doing your videos, writing those thank you notes, all of those little things. You know about this, going back into running. Especially as we are in the second half of our lives, joint health is more important than anything else. Yeah. Right? Because you tear a ligament or you mess up one of your joints, that's it. You're done. Yeah. That's it. It's over. So whereas most people are focusing on the big things, how can I get big muscles? How can I get my time down? No, you get smarter. You understand it's those little things. So that's why you need to take your supplements and why you want that broccoli and those Brussels sprouts you talked about, because that helps your joints, not the big muscles. I mean, it will help that as well, but those joints, those little things that make the big difference. And so those people who are able to be consistent in a specific thing over and over and over again, those are the ones who win every time.
You talk about being consistent over and over again. I know you have, there's folks that are listening right now, and they might be wondering, how do I, stay in the conversation with Jonathan over and beyond what we're doing now as we're coming down the home stretch? And I know there's a couple ways they could do it. And so I want you to take a moment and talk about an event that you have coming up because for some folks, they can participate from wherever they are in the world, I understand. So tell us, number one, what is the event? Number two, what type of folks typically attend this type of event? And then number three, what results do folks look to get from the event?
Great. So thank you for asking. So one of my friends and colleagues, Ed Rush, in the beginning of the stage where America the whole world was really locked down, he said, look, I know everybody's freaking out right now, but let me just invite y'all to just chill for a second. Let me invite you to just stop and think about this. And this is what he said, and it changed my whole perspective. He said, look, y'all, I need you to understand this. One thing goes out, something else comes in. That's been the case from the beginning of time. One thing goes out, something else goes in. Just same thing with fashion, just the same thing with everything else. So I have now shifted to a virtual event. And so at first I was thinking, oh, it won't be the same, but actually it's better because now anybody in the world can come join me. It's going to be October 23rd through 25th. You don't have to get on a plane. You don't have to buy a hotel. You don't have to get a rental car. You don't even have to get dressed up. All you have to do is just sit and watch and learn. It's called Connect Live, and you can go to connectliveevent.com, and you can see for yourself what it's all about. And why do people come? People are coming because we all need that reset, right? We need to get that flushing out of where we were. But when it comes to what we're going to put back in, now that one thing has gone out, as we talked about earlier, people who are connecting are winning. And nobody out there teaches these skills like I do. I talk about how do you create thank you campaigns, not just a note. I'm talking about how do you get people to really think about you all the time? How do you get people to lower their resistance to you? If you're in sales, this is extremely important because you still have to present. You still need to learn how to break down that digital divide. If you're in leadership, you will get big benefit because you're going to learn how to connect better with your people using the power of connection. So there's three things that I promise: better clients, bigger deals, in less time. So there is a big promise, and it's all given to you using the power of connection. We've done it the old way before, but guess what? All that stuff is gone. All the stuff that we used to do, it doesn't work like it used to. We don't have a lot of the abilities that we used to. Now we've got to learn how to really connect with people. And this is what I do. I teach you a lot of great things. How do you present more effectively? How do you create campaigns so that you pull people in and you connect with them emotionally to be able to bond and close more sales? What are the ways in which you as a leader can be more connected to your group? So the people who get the most value are the ones who have a connection between their influence and their income. If influencing people is important to you, whether it's to get them to buy something from you or to get them to believe in your ideas, these are the people who get the greatest benefit from Connect Live.
And where can they go once again, Jonathan?
Sure, they can go to connectliveevent.com.
You said that so well. One more time. For those folks that are out there, open up a browser now. Let's just make sure the website works. Jonathan, nothing personal. Sometimes these websites don't work. So if you're out there right now, even if you're watching the video, if you're listening to the podcast, pretty cool. If you're on Roku, I get it. If you're watching live and maybe on one of the social media platforms, open up a browser now and just type in, what's the website again, Jonathan?
connectliveevent.com.
www.connectliveevent.com. When the browser pops up, take a look at it. And go ahead and make that first step to join Jonathan virtually so you can be anywhere in the world and you still walk away with value, which is super cool, man. I'm so glad you're doing that, man. You're making this possible for everyone to have the resources that are necessary to execute the vision they have for the people they were called to serve. We're coming down the home stretch. I have two questions, Jonathan, I like to ask almost every single guest when I can. And the first question is, of all the success ideas I got a feeling what you're going to say, but of all the ideas you've had around success, what is one of your ideas that you'd want to share with the audience that they can walk away with to be more successful in their business or in their life?
Yeah, you did have a clue what I was going to say. The one that I believe in, I live and I teach, is that points are powerful, but connection is key. Maya Angelou said that people forget most of the things that you say, some of the things that you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Right now in this era, feelings matter more than ever before. And you being able to create those feelings of, I trust you. I believe that you're going to help me. I believe that you have what it takes. I believe that if I invest in you via my credit card or a check or whatever method of payment, I believe that if I pay you something, that you're going to give me what I believe I need, and you are the one who's going to give it to me. You can attach real dollar signs to that. You can attach big breakthroughs to that. So you can, while everyone else is talking about themselves, you need to make it about them. While everyone else is talking about their achievements, you talk about their story. You help them to become the hero of their own story. You just guide them all the way through. And that connection, that emotional connection to clients and customers and prospects or patients or whatever you might call them in your industry, that emotional connection is going to take you to the top in everything that you do going forward.
Oh, I love it, man. You know, you've had so many mentors along this journey of life. You really have. And I know it's always hard. People always say, Shay, I can't pick one. But if you don't pick the mentor, pick the idea. What's one idea you learned from any one of your mentors on this journey of life that we now can get it passed through to everyone that's watching right now? For you, the little boy or little girl, or a big boy, whoever's watching right now, this is one of the ideas that Jonathan's gathered from his mentor that he's going to pass on to you from one of his mentors. So, Jonathan, what would the idea be or the principle?
You know, I'm going to go back to my first mentor, my father, and I'll honor him in this moment. My father was one of the wisest men that I knew. He wasn't a perfect man. He was working it out just like how we are right now. But my father was my hero, and he still to this day is the closest relationship that I've ever had in my life. And I remember a time when I was young, when I brought home a set of bad test grades. I was just a boy in school. And I remember feeling like it was confirmation, which was interesting because I was young, but I'd already decided what the barriers and the caps were on my life. And I remember showing him the bad test grade. I said, look, I told you I can't do it. My father looked at me and he put the newspaper down. He took off his glasses and he put the glasses on top of the newspaper that he had just folded. And he said, son, I want you to remember something. And I'll never forget it. My heart beats almost like it happened yesterday. He said, son, I need you to know something. He said, I want you to know you're going to be one hell of a man. Okay? And I want you to remember this. Wow. He said, just be the best you that you can be. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but to me, that was the world, Jay. Because at the time, that gave me license to believe in myself. And it's in that same vein, it's in that same spirit that I teach today. The reason why that advice was so powerful was because it taught me that it wasn't about stuff. It wasn't about what people said about you. The way that I teach and work now is I try to pull it out of you. I believe that there's something great inside of everybody. I believe there's a 6 or 7 figure idea, or there's that book or the perfect talk or that brand or that message. And so now the way that I do everything is to just be exactly what my father was to me at that moment for people in their moment. Just be the best you that you can be. And when you show up as you, when you show up authentically, When you show up bringing your heart and your hurts, when you show up saying, I know that feeling and I know the way out. When you show up ready to help people to go higher as a servant, that's when the window of opportunity opens for you.
Man, I love it, man. Let me first say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show, man. We appreciate it. One thing I know about you is you can always make more money. That's not a doubt, but you can never make more time. And you're taking time away from your son. You're taking time away from your business to spend time with our audience right now to share that the comeback starts with the connection. For those folks that are out there, I'm going to turn over to Jonathan in a moment. He said that he would be grateful and give his final thoughts and comments. I want to encourage you all to go over to www.connectliveevent.com. Is that it? Is that right?
Yes, and actually even before then, I have something for you. I want to give a free gift, and maybe this is a combination of his final thoughts. I want to do something for your folks. Right now is a challenging time for some, and a lot of us are feeling uncertain. But I have a question for you. How likely are you to come back? How likely are you to mount your comeback this year? How likely are you to bounce back from whatever position life might have gotten you in? So if you just go, I have an assessment. It's only 12 questions. And at the end of the assessment, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to show up in the form of a video, and I'm going to talk to you about where you are. And I'm going to share with you what your 12 questions say about you, or what your 12 answers say about you and your life. And these questions, I really invested a lot of time in making sure, because I want to make sure that because there were only 12, I had to get it right. And I invested a lot of time in making sure that we got this thing exactly the way that we needed it to be. If you just answer these 12 questions, it will provide the kind of clarity that you need about where you are. It'll help you to see also where you want to be, as well as what do you think might be needed in order to get there. If you go to jsprinkles.com/unstuck, jsprinkles.com/unstuck, that's just letter J, sprinkles, like rain, SPRINKLES, jsprinkles.com/unstuck. We want to talk about how close are you to getting yourself unstuck, and what do we need to do in order to get there. That will begin our conversation. It's 100% free, by the way. I'm doing this as a service to people, and based on what your answers are, I'm going to give you a set of solutions. I'm going to give you a set of guidance for what you need to do in order to move yourself from wherever you are up to a higher level. And this is my way of giving back to my people, because we are breathing the same air, y'all. And when the pandemic hit, I lost 5 figures in 5 days. I was a stage speaker, and people would hire me for their events. And I got the call, hey, we're not having this event. Hey, it's canceled. Hey, too bad, right? It happened one after another. But I have a mantra that I live by. Don't get mad, get moving. And when things would go out, something else would come in. And I said, you know what? Since I'm going to have a little bit more opportunity for time, I'm going to do more coaching. I'm going to do more development of my people. Normally I'd be on a plane or doing something. Now I'm going to focus on you. So for free, if you go to jsprinkles.com/unstuck, that will allow you to take that quiz and see how likely you are to get unstuck, and what do you need to do in order to get that comeback this year.
Go to jsprinkles.com/what?
Unstuck.
That's right.
Yes.
jsprinkles.com/unstuck. Once again, man, they're going over to www.jsprinkles.com/unstuck. Take the quiz, take the test. Worst case scenario is you take it, you're like, man, I learned something new, right? That's the worst case. The best case scenario is it changes your life forever.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you read something and it's no big deal. It seems like it's just another thing you read. And other times you're like, whoa. One idea. And how many ideas you need to change your life? One. Well, I promise you, once you're able to connect better, that's what I call the game changers that's out there right now. With that being said, Jonathan, again, thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show, man. We appreciate you, man. You are a rock star. You have a heart to give. You have a heart to serve. You play full out. And I'm so humble and so appreciative to have you as part of this whole comeback champion journey that we're on. So with that being said, I want to turn it over to you, man, have your final thoughts and comments. I know you're in overtime, by the way. You was on the road. So thank you so much for hanging in there, man. I know you can't wait to hang out with your son and get back out there and do the things you love to do as a dad. Over to you, man.
Yep. Oh yeah, we've got a big fishing trip planned this evening. So big things. Now is your time. Now is your time. And I want, what does that mean? Today being January 1st, every time when I get in that cold shower, the first thing I do is I recite my mantra. Today is my day. Today is my day. And I say everything. I go down and I say several things because I want to speak life into my day. I want to speak life into this moment. No matter where you are, no matter what condition this message catches you in, I want you to know anywhere you want to go, there's a relationship that can get you out. And if I'm so blessed to be that person who can help to get you out, then my promise to you, my commitment to you, hold me to it. My commitment to you is to pour into you everything that you need in order to build the belief in yourself, in your goal, in the thing that God or your source has promised you, that it's still possible for you to know that this is your time and that today is your day, that we're going to let all the other stuff go. But what I learned is that sometimes life will allow you to go through all of that so that you can appreciate when you get to this. Because sometimes when things are perfect, we stop listening. When things are so good, we're not able to hear the way that we should. But now when we're here in this place and the world is slowed down a bit, this is an opportunity for us to meet and for us to go to that next level. Y'all, people are winning out here. And I'm very glad to be one of the people who's guiding a lot of winners. And Shay, I thank you very much for the opportunity to be on this platform, to talk with the happy entrepreneurs in your community. And just thank you very much. And this is the new economy here in which connection is the new currency.
Wow, well, I love it. Thanks a lot. For those folks that are out there, I want you to know that today is your January 1st. You got the tools to have the human connection now. That today is your January 1st. You can take the quiz and make sure that you can be unstuck over at jsprinkles.com/unstuck. And today is your January 1st because you have an opportunity to attend the Connect liveevent.com and be part of something special, something that Jonathan's never done before, right? He may never do it again. Well, I'm sure he will because this is the new norm, but you're there now. So go ahead and be a part of it. With that being said, I want you to know that for you, the best is yet to come. For those folks who's doing all that yelling, who's doing all that screaming, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things, how we connect again next time. Remember, time is so very, very long. Life, on the other hand, is very, very short. So we've got to live in the moment, and we got to make it count. God bless. We wish you success. We out of here. Thanks a lot, Jonathan. We appreciate you, man. We'll catch you next time. You rock. Peace, everybody. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Thank you. God bless.